Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome. Just telling Tony. Welcome. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be a good one because today, what is today? Saturday. This is the time of year where we get totally lost as to what day is what. We have, we just had 2 days off for Sukkot, and now we have Friday, Saturday, so Shabbat, and everything shuts down, especially in Jerusalem on these days, on the Jewish holidays. So today, I don't even know, I had to think really, think twice, oh, is today this, Sukkot holiday, or is it Shabbat? And then it's Saturday. Okay, today's Saturday, so we have like one after the other of shutdowns, of everything shutting down, and so today is no different. So I always also find it very interesting that the people who are observing, like the observant Jews, they probably do not know what was happening today, and you would know before them, well, except for the fact that it's over now, and so now they're probably watching the news. Okay, so the big news from today is that a drone from Hezbollah, fired by Hezbollah in Lebanon, actually went over Mediterranean Sea and came back into land over the city of Caesarea, aiming at Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's house in Caesarea. Now, he wasn't there, and they say that there wasn't much damage and that he and his wife are safe and they weren't even there. But the fact that this drone knew to go target the house of the Prime Minister of Israel that means things are getting very serious in terms of the ability of Israel's enemies to find and locate, and the fact that they also have intelligence. I mean, it's not just Israel that is using very specific intelligence to locate, like when they got the Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah and several other Hezbollah leaders, a couple of Hamas leaders that they got through, also through, what do you call it, using intelligence. Now we are going to go back to the killing of Yahya Sinwar, who was the head of Hamas in Gaza, but that was not due to intelligence. That was, admittedly, it was just the army that actually it was kind of like they just kind of stumbled upon them. So, or stumbled upon him. They were just aiming at somebody. They were fighting back with three terrorists on the run in southern Gaza, and they just happened to, whoever they got, they killed all three of them, and one of them happened to be Sinwar. Hi, Bethany from California. Thank you for joining. Good morning. My gosh. Wow, that's right, because it's barely noon in New York, so it really is morning. Excuse me, I've got the lineup of socks here because these are the single socks that don't have yet a pair, and we'll see if they ever miraculously meet their mate again after we finish the laundry. So, oh, hi, Laura from Brooklyn. Oh, that's awesome. From east to west coast in the US. That's awesome. Okay, so this is an attack on the prime minister's house in Caesarea. Now, they didn't go after the official, and that's his personal residence. They didn't go after the Jerusalem residence. There's probably a lot of reasons. Now, you go after the prime minister's residence in Jerusalem, and you have war on a whole different scale, because Jerusalem is a very densely populated city. It is the international and or holy city to three religions. It would be, I mean, it would be off the charts war if they actually went after something specifically, intentionally in Jerusalem. So, but they did go after this in Caesarea. So Netanyahu has put out a video of him strolling through a park saying, we have no fear and we're going to win this war. And, just a very pastoral setting, just to show like I'm not even touched. But there's already like some sort of censorship surrounding this, so that nobody knows specifically. Let's see. So we don't know specifically like the damage and how it was hit, whatever, because so now there's a censorship involved, with exactly what and how this happened. So here's some questions. So did Iran know about this? Like, for instance, did Hezbollah, Hezbollah is kind of leaderless right now because, they assassinated, Israel got to Hassan Nasrallah a couple weeks ago, and then they got their second, the runner-ups to the position, they got them as well. So I'm not really sure who is considered the leader right now. And so is Hezbollah still reporting to Iran? Presumably they are. Did they tell Iran, hey, we're going to aim at Netanyahu? Now, mind you, oh, hey, thank you from Arkansas. Swerve in Arkansas. Thank you very much. Did Iran say, hey, or does Iran know about it? Oh, yeah. So I was going to say, we're waiting for, Iran still hasn't, Israel hasn't still responded for the Iranian attack, which was on October 1st, when there was almost 200 ballistic missiles fired from Iran at Israel. And everybody's expecting the response. The U.S. is, everybody's trying to negotiate the response even. And it's almost going to be like the kind of thing where exactly when and where or what. They're probably negotiating what targets are acceptable at this point. So if this is the case, though, if Iran knows that, like, it's supposed to be Israel's turn to retaliate. So if Iran knew that there was a drone that was going after the prime minister of Israel, the question is, what are they thinking? Like, because that opens up a whole Pandora's box of possible more targets that Israel can go after in Iran, including, if you're going to go after our leader, we'll go after your leader. Now, not to say that Israel hasn't assassinated. I didn't mention also Ismail Haniyeh, who is the head of the political bureau of Hamas. And he was in Tehran when that happened, when he was killed. Now, did Israel do it? Israel didn't claim, hasn't taken responsibility for that, but everybody the world over believes that Israel did it. But these are, when you say Hamas and Hezbollah, these are terrorist organizations. Most of the world considers them terrorist organizations. And so there isn't a lot of condemnation for Israel from the West when they do assassinate these leaders of terrorist organizations. So wait a second. My daughter just connected my AirPods to Raya. My AirPods are somehow connected to this now. Go in the room. Oh my gosh. I love it. Oh my gosh. Louise from the UK, this is awesome. And Carol and Laura are talking to each other from Queens to Brooklyn. That's awesome. Far away. Let me see. Can you hear me now? Oh, okay. Let me see. Let me see. I'm trying to work on this. Thank you. Thank you, daughter. Let's see. Let me see. You can hear me now? Is this good? Oh my gosh. Thank you. My daughter was using my AirPods to talk to her friends. And when she was off the phone, she just left the AirPods. And so they connected automatically to my computer. So now I'm keeping them and that's it. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna keep them in because I don't know how, whatever. Because they're connected to my computer or something like that. So anyway, yeah. So where was I? Where was I? Somewhere between Iran. Yeah, I know where I was. Okay, yes. I mean, aside from like trying to get my AirPods. Okay, so when Israel goes after the leaders of terrorist organizations and also Hamas being like a political Islamic movement here, for the Palestinians, but is not even Hamas was ruling Gaza, but not even all of the Palestinians because there was the West Bank. In the West Bank is Fatah, which is another party, which is another Palestinian political party. So they're not representing a country. So it's like if you go and assassinate the leader of a country, there's a big difference than going after the head of a terrorist organization, at least in the Game of Thrones of the political world. So that's sort of how now this raises the bar. Now it's still very quiet. Now, mind you, this is today is the Sabbath, it's Shabbat, and everything in Israel is closed down. So you haven't heard any big reaction like from the government. You do hear it on the media, like all the news channels came on today, even though usually this is a day off for 24/7 news. They all had their reporters in the studio because in addition to this attempted attack of the prime minister of Israel, there have been more than 100 rockets fired at Israel from Hezbollah in Lebanon, and there have been several hits as well. One of them was in the city of Akko, and if you read the English media and you see acre like ACRE, it's well we say Akko here. So there a man was killed in Akko, and there were also several direct hits of I mean they non like rockets that were not intercepted in the suburbs of Haifa. So this was a really active day in the north, and it really all just broke loose and started with this threat on the prime minister's house in Caesarea. So what's been going on today. There was also a terror attack. Oh, too bad I don't have a video for you have to see the miracle. I'm gonna find it. Actually, I will find it for you. Because you have to see the video. I'm sure I'll be able to find it on this. Um, okay, so there was also a terror attack in the West Bank, and it was a car ramming. Attempted car well, it wasn't an attempted car ramming, but all right, whoa, 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 watch this. You guys see this? Did you see that? Trying to make it bigger, don't know how. Look at this. The police officer, this is a police vehicle or army vehicle, looks like police, not sure. They just walked away and this car rammed straight into it. I'm sorry, I can't make it bigger.
Let's see if I can find this anywhere else on this website. There you go. That was an absolute miracle. Do you guys see that? So, nobody was, I don't know what happened to the driver. Let's see if it says in the article. Um, but swerved into a parked car, suspected car ride. This driver was killed in the incident. So, okay. So so it has been an absolutely active day here. There are protests right now, and for as usual, this is what usually happens on Saturday night is the families of the hostages will go out and they're protesting. They're really feeling neglected now because of all the attention has gone to the war in the north, and also just the fact that Israel was able to kill the head of Hamas, who was Yehya Sinwar. Now, let's talk more about Sinwar because that was Thursday night, right? So, yeah, that was Thursday night. And again, it was like a holiday. Although he was killed Wednesday, and then they only identified but they went and found his body. So I'll tell you a little bit about the story of that. So Israel is basically the military is in the southern Gaza Strip and the north. And well, maybe we'll talk about the north later. But in the southern Gaza Strip, there is the Philadelphia corridors. There's the Rafah crossing, and there's just the whole southern part that, if you remember, a few weeks ago or months ago, all of the Western leaders were against Israel going into Rafah, and they did not want the military there. And Israel just kind of insistent and kind of just did it, and nothing happened and nothing was said about it. So they have been there and they basically have sealed the border to Egypt. And so they have just operating like on a regular basis down there. Um, the, let's go back to August 31st. On August 31st, they found the bodies of the 6 hostages, and the 6 hostages that were executed just probably within like a day of maybe being located or saved. And that included Hirsch Goldberg Polin, who is the American. His parents were very um, very vocal. They were very active. They met with world leaders. They met with the Pope. They spoke at the UN. They were really trying to draw attention to the hostages' plight. So these 6 were found, and Israel is now saying that they found the DNA of Yahya Sinwar in that tunnel as well, meaning that he was probably surrounded by these 6 hostages as human shields. So, so Yehya Sinwar, believed to be the mastermind of the October 7th attacks, which were the most brutal attack overall, deadly attack that Israel, that Jews have suffered since the Holocaust, but also for Israel, it's probably the deadliest since the Yom Kippur War. 1,200 people were killed that day. That includes women and children, civilians, and also some army people. People are at a concert. There were a lot of young people outdoors at a concert. People were burned alive in their houses. I mean, it was just a massacre that we relived a lot now because it was the anniversary. So he masterminded this. Now he was born in Gaza. He was arrested by Israel many years ago and spent, I think it was 8 years in an Israeli jail. He also had brain cancer and was treated by Israeli doctors and overcame the brain cancer, actually. He was released as a prisoner. He was released along with more than 1,000 other Palestinian prisoners in exchange for one Israeli soldier, Gilad Shalit. So Israel had his DNA from this time that he was in prison. Um, that's how they were able to identify that they found his urine that in the tunnel where the hostages were. So so there was intelligence that he was in the Tel Al Sultan neighborhood, in this place, like in this area. But what happened in the end was that he was discovered kind of by happenstance by some soldiers who were just on a routine patrol, and they noticed that there were uh, 3 terrorists out there that were shooting at them, and they shot back, and 2 went into one building and 1 went into another, and, they confirmed that they got the 2, but the other one, they did not confirm the other one. So now I'm gonna show you how they ended up confirming him, and we're going to find this video. Okay, this is drone footage. This is drone footage from Israel that the Israeli army released of the building where they believe the other terrorist was. So check it out. So the drone is hovering right now, and is looking at what appears to be a person sitting in that chair. There's with the face wrapped and very dusty. It's really hard to tell. Okay, but they've identified this is what the army has released, that they identified it's him. This is like a stick or a piece of wood or something. Okay, so then he threw that out there. So, I don't know if you've seen this footage before, but, um, they didn't know at this point who that was, but after this, a sniper shot and killed him, and that was on Wednesday. It wasn't until Thursday that the troops actually went in to, just to confirm the kill and to retrieve the body. When they retrieved the body, actually, they said they found Mentos, thousands of shekels, a weapon. They said a fake passport, although I didn't see the passport in all of the what do you call it? In all of the reports. Like for instance, the New York Times says they found a prayer book, but they didn't mention the what do you call it? The passport. But apparently he had been traveling around like covered with his face covered. I don't know why they were smoked out of the tunnels, and I don't know if he was looking to escape or what was happening at the time. So the question now is nobody really knows where's his body or what's going to happen with his body. And so that's still out there, that a question that remains. Now, here are some reports from Gaza. One Gazan wrote on social media, I'm happy because he's the main reason for the situation we're in. And because of him, that son of a, you know what? My son Jamal died. So here's another Gazan that wrote on social media, to hell, we will not cry over you. We will not mourn over you. You were a bad chapter in our lives, a criminal. So, um, so that is the chapter of Yehye Sinwar. We don't know who is going to take his place. if anybody. And we also don't know at this point the what do you call it? The strength of Hamas, like we don't know the standing of Hamas right now in the Gaza Strip, and like how um, how much power do they still have? How much power do they wield? Do they have a leader? Who is somebody going to take his place? Do they still have fighters? These are a lot of things that we don't know at the moment. Um, so kind of still waiting to find out. Um, um, Gaza is portraying that it is or Hamas is portraying that they will continue to fight and that they're still strong. Now, the other question is what happens with the hostages? Now, there are still 101 hostages, and there have been three instances in the last couple days of reports that went like viral around the country saying that there has been a massive rescue of hostages. And every single time the army has to come out and say the rumors are false. There has been no rescue. So nobody knows where they are. Um, Another one. Oh, it says that the army, the IDF spokesman is going to release another um, video of Sinwar. I don't know what. Um, okay. Um, they just released the name of the person who died in Akko. He was from Kiryat Chaim, but he died in Akko. Alexei Popov, I think. Wow. Okay. Um, okay. So, not really sure what's going to happen with the hostages. There is no talk of a deal right now. Somebody had said in their analysis, now we're going to see the truth about who was dragging their feet over the a hostage deal, because Netanyahu always said that it was Hamas that was refusing the deals, and Hamas always said it was Netanyahu that was refusing the deals. So we'll see now if whether there is movement or not. Now Hamas says there will be no movement, no deal. They said like one of the Hamas members had said today that there is absolutely no deal on the table. Now, one of the concerns as well is that nobody knows really where the hostages are. Was it like there was a formal intake, when 250 something people were just ferreted into Gaza? There wasn't a formal intake, and it was believed that not just Hamas had them, but also Islamic Jihad members also had them. And while some are living in tunnels or being kept in tunnels, the four that were rescued in, I think it was June, they were in houses. They were above ground and they were in central Gaza in houses, as opposed to the six that were executed in southern Gaza in a tunnel and had been living in a tunnel and were emaciated and hadn't showered for months in a tunnel in southern Gaza. So I don't know that anybody knows. Now there was also I should link to this, the second birthday of Yarden Bibas. He is the father of the redheads. If you know of the famous redheads, the two babies, the two kids that are left. I'm gonna add the link here for you guys when I get to the right screen. Okay. Um, okay. It says that this can't post to some channels, so I don't know what that means. But anyway, maybe you see the link. He was the first hostage to have his second birthday in captivity. So his kids were kidnapped separately with the mom, Shiri, and they were never released in the 4 rounds of hostage release that, in November. And at the time, all the kids, women and children were supposed to be released, and they weren't. So, now Hamas claims that they were killed in a bombing, and they even made the husband say that in a psychological warfare video that they released. But that is, as far as Israel is concerned, that's unofficial, and they have no evidence that this is true. So anyway, Israel is still seeking their releases as well as everybody else's. Um, so okay, let's see what else I have here, and then we'll wrap it up. I just want to say something about the drones. Now, the drones are seeming to come at Israel with more frequency than than no, not more frequency than the rockets. The rockets are first, but more frequency than they had been over the past year. So they look like little planes. They look like somebody's model airplane, and a little bit bigger, and they can be either programmed or remotely run. So the question is, the one that came in today after aiming for Netanyahu's house, was that pre-programmed, or was somebody running it on the way there? The other question is, how are they escaping detection? This is not the first of time it has escaped detection. In fact, there were 3 shot at the same time, and 2 were intercepted, and 1 wasn't. And this one wasn't. And the same thing happened when they shot 3. It was about a week ago, and it landed. So 2 were intercepted, and the other one landed on an army base, probably also intentional, that they would aim at an army base, and 4 soldiers were killed and dozens were wounded. So, what is the deal with the drones that are escaping Israel's very successful air defense system? And how many does Hezbollah have? And how many does Iran have? Iran makes them. I don't know if they made these specific ones, but they do. They do have their own drones, and I think they're also used by Russia. I'm not 100% sure. I thought I read that they were used by Russia against Ukraine. So now these, an analyst that I follow said that these Iranian suicide drones are going to cause a lot of trouble because of the size. They're small, but they weigh 200 kilograms, so that's about 400 pounds. They fly at low altitude, so they're difficult to lock onto. They fly slowly, but over a long distance as well. And the suicide drones will self-destruct upon impact, causing more damage. So today you saw, for instance, in the footage, you saw like a helicopter trying to track this drone, like it had escaped like one and then the other, and then you saw the helicopter trying to go after it. And also, it looks like the drones are getting perfected. It's something that they actually were showing off, like in 2021. I remember seeing like Iran releasing like these videos of their drones, and Hezbollah has a lot of them. And so the question is, what will, if they ever release hundreds, or even dozens at one time in a swarm toward Israel, how would how would Israel be able to respond to that? The other thing to note is that they don't always set off the alarms. So the sirens. So if you've got drones coming at you, but you don't even know it, you've got no recourse. You've got no way to know to get into a shelter or to protect yourself. So also this morning, the drone did not. Oh, here it is actually. There's the helicopter going after the drone. All right, so it didn't set off sirens. That was this morning. So it didn't set off sirens. So imagine if swarms of them come. Now, Hezbollah said the other day after Sinwar died, maybe not related to Sinwar's death, but they said that they are planning to escalate the situation. Accordingly, since then, it was like one quiet day. And then since then, maybe that quiet day was yesterday. Actually, yesterday was pretty quiet. It looks like escalation. There, at least there is in the numbers, and also this drone. So there is one more thing I just want to show you about. Let me find the Lebanese prime minister, because this is very interesting. So, Prime Minister of Lebanon, Najib Mikati, he slammed Iranian Parliament Speaker Mohammed Bakr Kalibaf's recent remarks that Tehran is willing to assist in negotiating to implement a UN resolution on Lebanon. Mikati, in a rare rebuke of Iran, Makati's office issued a statement expressing surprise at these remarks, which it said amounted to blatant interference in Lebanese affairs and an attempt to establish a rejected guardianship over Lebanon. Now, these are really big words, actually, because up until now, to reject Iran or to say something against Iran and Iranian influence is also to say something against Hezbollah. And at the moment, Hezbollah has carte blanche in Lebanon. They are entrenched in southern Lebanon, and they pretty much from like a certain point down, they control that entire area. They also control neighborhoods of the capital, Beirut, and they are in parliament. They are well entrenched into the fabric of Lebanese society, and they are. I mean, they're kind of bullies, like to actually say, like, you've got to, they're Lebanon has not tried to kick them out. They can't actually just kick them out. But by saying this, to by saying that Iran needs to stay out of our business, and you've got the biggest Iranian proxy on your soil, was actually a key statement. There have been little things here and there from Lebanon, from Syria, that look like perhaps these proxies and these allies of Iran might be distancing themselves. Maybe they don't want to be dragged into the regional war that Hamas had no problem starting, Hezbollah had no problem joining, the Houthis seem very anxious to get involved, and Iran, interestingly enough, Iran is the most distant of all. Though many people call Iran the head of the octopus, Iran over there, far away from Israel, several countries between here and there, is actually the one that seems to be keeping their distance in some ways from the war and not getting directly involved. There were the two attacks. There were April 13th. There were 350, I think, something like that, projectiles, including drones and ballistic missiles and things that took 9 hours to get here. All of them were dealt with. I think there was one injury that day, and then on October 1st, there was 200 ballistic missiles, and one person was killed. Sorry, on that day. And other than that, they've kept their distance, and they're more protecting their own standing and their own regime than they are wanting to get involved in this cause. And basically, so it looks like people are starting to other countries, maybe. I mean, I don't want to say like they really, really are, but Syria, there was something else with Syria. Let me see. No, just saying that perhaps Israel might be um, building a fence or blockade in Syria. And that's it. I mean, that's it for now. I think there are some hints here and there that perhaps there's this distancing from Iran, who seems to be more interested in self-preservation of its own regime than it is in opening up a regional war with Israel directly, as opposed to through its proxies. So I'm not going to get to northern Gaza tonight, but I just want to tell you briefly that there has been 2 weeks now, some serious operations by the IDF in northern Gaza, the IDF being the Israel Defense Forces. They're operating. Um, there's a lot of battle going on in northern Gaza, and it looks to be unofficially part of the plan that they are implementing, or that they are implementing without officially implementing this plan to push all of the Palestinians south of Gaza City and to leave that territory as a buffer zone. Now, how they are doing it is what is the controversial part for definitely the Palestinians and in the media. If you look at it's a process of evacuate, seal an area, say don't let any humanitarian aid into that area, say starve or surrender, and then after that they will then complete the takeover of that region. And then they're going to do that. The original plan, I'm not sure if it calls to go how far south it goes, but right now they're calling it the siege of Jabalia, which is the northern Gaza Strip, city in the northern Gaza Strip, and they've told the people to evacuate to Gaza City, which is also in the north, but it's just a little bit south of Jabalia. There have been a lot of deaths already in the north as the battle unfolds there, but aside from I would say, like, it's not as much in the Israeli media, because the Israeli media is focused on the north. So you have to go digging in other media sources to find out exactly what's happening. So I'm not going to go into detail on that now, because I don't feel like I have all the details. Unfortunately, I'm still trying to catch up, but there's never a slow news day. And there seems to never not be a holiday either, because now we're in the middle of Sukkot, and now we will have like the half days of well, half days of work. Kids are off until next Sunday, and you've got like a couple of days in the middle of the holiday, and I think the holiday ends on Tuesday, Wednesday. So that will be yet another like shutdown of the whole city again on from Tuesday night to Wednesday. I'm not even. I can't keep up. This is the time of the year where you just have to like give up trying to keep up on things like what day it is and what holiday and stuff like that. Did I just connect to this? Oh God. All right, so I'm going to end it because I have no idea if I'm now connected to my phone or not. Wait, off. Okay. So, main takeaway is that a drone almost hit Netanyahu's house today. Okay. So that's that. So I'm going to go. Bye, everybody. Thank you for tuning in and joining, and I will see you next time.